Well, now on to the short game, which probably causes more aggravation than most, and it can stretch up as far as 120 yards from the flag, particularly for the mighty hitters. But it's a whole variety of shots: chip shots, long shots, pick shots, bunker shots, buried shots. And joining me now is one of the greatest exponents of that lovely little delicate, slow pitch, the floppy one that goes over the bunker and lands so delightfully softly, while of course it's international Scotland's own Bernard Gallagher from the Wentworth Club in Surrey.
This part of the game is really controlled by the amount of practice one does. You know, unlike the long game where technique is more involved, this part of the game, if you just stand here and practice all day long, you'll get better at it, really.
Well, now, our four stalwarts are here. Now, will you just talk them through your thoughts when you've hit a shot to here, whether you're playing your second shot or your third shot or whatever, you're going to play, what's that club you got there?
It's a pitching wedge.
Yeah. Now, you've selected your pitching wedge, you've got a ball here, there's the shot. Now, just take us through your thoughts when you come up, what you see, when you look at the green now, what you see, what you're looking for, and what you're trying to do.
Well, the first thing that's important is I try to line the club face up absolutely square on target. That's very, very important. This particular shot isn't going to be a very long shot, so I'm going to keep my leg action and my body action to a minimum here. I'm going to play the ball from a slightly open stance so that my body is facing towards the target, and I'm going to keep my hands ahead of the ball, and also in the back, on the downswing, I'm always going to have the feeling that my hands are leading the club face. I think this is very important, not only in this chip shot, but in all pitch shots and chip shots around the green. The important thing is to feel that your hands are leading the downswing. Otherwise, you'll fluff it. People always fluff it when their hands get behind the club face. So I'll hit one here. Club face aiming at target. Weight predominantly on the left foot from a slightly open stance. Now, I'm really thinking in terms of arms only, keeping my eye on the ball. Throwing it up there, quick wrist break to get some height into the shot. And it's just a matter of hitting balls and balls until you get that right.
Watch Bernard's length of swing. You see, this is only a shot of probably 80 yards or so, but you'll notice how far he swings the club and a nice follow-through. There's no short pecking at it here, just a good rhythm. You have a full follow-through, almost as far as he would do with a driver. The ball lands fairly limply onto the green. I think that's the great secret. I remember the great Bobby Locke, who, although he drew the ball in from right to left, at certain times the ball seemed to be travelling so slowly that even if it landed on a hard green, it was lifeless. It wasn't hitting the green and spinning. I think that's important, to feel the pace too.
Yeah, I think that really comes by hitting the ball first. You know, that's where you're really going to get the perfect trajectory.
Let's move forward now and play some little chip and runs.
Whereas the pitch shot is played up in the air, the chip shot is played along the ground. You play the chip shot when there's no obstacles you need to pitch over. And Pat, who's standing here beside me, I would like to see how she plays this shot. Pat, would you like to hit a few? I'd like to see you go right down the shaft a little bit. It's just a little shot now. Stand a bit closer to the ball, if you can. Yes. Not too bad, Pat, but on this shot here, I'd like to see you keep your swing a little bit lower. We're just trying to keep the ball along the ground, so consequently, I would just like to see the swing along the ground as well. You just keep the club head low and keep your follow-through low as well. And also a good tip is on this shot, I always try and pick a spot to hit. For instance, when we're using a 7-iron, try and land the ball about 1/3 of the distance, then let the ball run 2/3. So just try and land it about a yard short of the green, will you? If you can. Don't look at the flag, just look at the spot where you're going to chip it to. You're getting the ball running quite well there, but I'd still like to see your swing a little bit lower. Don't have it going back so much up here. Just keep it low here like that.
This is a slightly different situation. I've got young Duncan with me and we're going to chip from above the surface of the green down onto the actual putting surface. There are a couple of ridges and rolls in the way, and when you chip from above the level down, the ball does rather tend to stop a little bit more quickly. The reverse is true if you're chipping up to a green. The ball comes up a lower trajectory and scoots away. So here again, Duncan, you want to view the shot you've got in mind. Try and pick your spot, as Bernard was saying to Pat. Try and pick your spot, land, and remember that the ball will roll. It won't roll quite so far as you might think, but you've got to try and judge the pitch and the roll. Feet, you see, nicely together. Weight on the left foot. This is a 9-iron. Pitch him down and let him ease its way down to the hole side. Now let's see you have a go at a couple of those. Have you got a 9-iron there?
Yes.
Good man. Now, where do you feel your weight, first of all? Just address the ball. Let's have a look how you see. Now, always clean the blade of your club, look. Never play with all sorts of bits of stuff on the club face. Good. Now, just get set, but don't hit it. Right, now you ready? Right, now just feel right. You've picked your spot. Now, let's see a nice swing. That wasn't bad at all, but you see, it just pulled up a little bit short. Now, let me just show you. Let's have a ball out again. Now, you address that. Clean the face again. You see, if you get all sorts of dirt on the club face, it can build up a cushion between the ball and the club, and you just dub it halfway. Now, get set, but this time don't hit it. Now, you see, you're tending again to get your hands behind the ball, and your weight's a little bit back here. So, if anything, you're tending to do that. You're not doing that. You follow? You're not doing that quite sharp enough. So a little bit more weight on the left leg, a little bit more weight on the left knee. You can break the wrists a shade earlier and make a nice accelerating contact as you hit the ball. Pick your spot down there, and remember you're only going to get about maybe 10 or 12 feet of run. You're a little bit forward, break the wrist, and now just a nice little firm shot. Better. So you've got it going forward, checking and running. You're only 4 feet right of the flag, a good speed.
Well, that's one of the most difficult shots in golf, even for the professional. One must practice it a lot, and you also must be very aware that the technique is correct. With this particular shot, I use a sand iron, and the face is kept slightly open with a quick wrist break. However, the operative word in this is tempo and smoothness. You mustn't hurry the shot, otherwise you'll end up duffing the ball into the bunker. You also must keep your eye on the ball. You must keep your body still so that it's only an arms movement. No quitting on the shot. Nice easy backswing and through. Most of the weekend golfers go wrong when they hurry the shot, jerk the shot. Now what happened there? Hands went behind the club in the downswing. The hands like that. No acceleration into the ball at all. Hands really caused that one to go. It wasn't head up as the old adage would have it. Hands ahead, like that. Firmly. You must hit it firmly through. You can only do this when your hands are ahead of the ball at impact.
You know, probably more things have been written about putting than probably any other part of any other game that I can suddenly think of. It's almost in a world of its own, although many people think it really shouldn't be, for after all, we're on probably the most prepared piece of ground on the whole golf course. Everything flat, usually, hopefully, beautiful texture, and all we've got to do is roll the ball up into that hole, which is almost 5 inches across. Sounds ridiculously easy, doesn't it? But it's brought strong men near to tears. Over the years, Ben Hogan, Henry Cotton, Sam Snead, and a multitude of others, including my humble self, have all been reduced to almost psychiatric wards and reading the art of powerful thinking, positive thinking, instead of going on the negative route. Bernard is going to show us a putt of about 14 yards or so. Let him just roll a couple up to the hole for you and just watch his pendulum-like motion and the speed of the club head. And how easy it all looks.
I tend to think in terms of rhythm. I like my follow-through to be the same length as my backswing.
That's relative to any length of putt. So if you've got a sort of 8-footer, you sort of go, that's the sort of length of swing rather than one
Yes.
for 18 yards.
Well,
or
that's general principle I work on, and I also try to make my backswing and the downswing exactly the same pace, so that there's no, I don't quicken it in the downswing. I just take it back and I bring it down exactly the same pace. That gives me some sort of method, and it gives me some sort of tempo and rhythm.
Do you try and use both hands when you putt?
Well, yes, I do. Well, I use both hands,
So
but I use a
you're
reverse
using
overlap.
the long finger
That's
job
right,
too. It's
yeah.
not just wrapped round that first finger,
No.
a little finger a la, say, Billy Casper. You've got the long spread.
Yeah, this enables me to putt more or less with the right hand.
There.
So that, yeah, it's all really a right hand. This, with putting the finger down there, it prevents me from turning over like this. I can hit it firmly with the right hand, and really, I putt, general terms, in fact, I could just putt like that, really, if I had the strength in the hand and the confidence, because that's all I see putting,
So
one-handed.
really, from a long range, or say over 15, 16, 18 yards, you're concentrating on pace, judgment of the speed of the green, getting the ball up close enough so that you don't three-putt. Now, having
right.
worked that out, let's go and have a couple of putts from closer to the hole,
Okay.
and let's see what that technique is when we're down within the dreaded 4 or 5 feet circle. So what are your thoughts now? This is an important putt for you. You're going to look at it, you're going to choose your line, you're going to think just right of centre, but what actually do you think about here?
First of all, I would put, when I was lining up the putt, I would picture a spot just in front of the ball.
Yeah.
That would be in a direct line into the middle of the hole, and I would then ignore the hole and try and hit it over that point.
Just get it running over that spot?
over that spot,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, see, you're employing old techniques, but things that have given you confidence. Well, I'm interested to see your length of swing on this, because your theory of back and through. Let's just see your length of backswing and follow through for this putt of perhaps 33 inches.
It's a long 33
Yeah, it is a long,
inches.
yeah. Long
it?
33 inches. You'd like to buy some land off me, would you?
Yeah. No, straight back, putter head low in the backswing, and body absolutely dead still. Purely hands and arms. Just got in. Just aiming over that spot there.
Mm. You see, it fascinates me that you say you don't try and accelerate. You're trying to keep it
Yes.
the same pace all the time.
I jerk. On the putting, I jerk when I accelerate. When I feel I accelerate. Unlike
You mean
the other
you hit
shots.
at it with the club
Yes,
head
it
rather
turns.
than letting it go
Yeah,
through?
same pace, all the time. Backswing and follow through, exactly the same. Like that.
Well, Bernard, that was a pretty good exhibition of holing out. Fascinating, the length of backswing. And
Yes.
for you at home, I'm sure it must be interesting, because Bernard's just one of the hundreds of styles that you'll see if you watch golf throughout the world, whether they be amateurs or professionals. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, tears. Well, I'm sure many of you are fed up with being told how simple these shots are. But you know, sad to say, they really are, if you get, again, as many things right before you start. Basically, many people play their golf on maybe 1 or 2 golf courses, those around where they live. If the sand is heavy, as this is more or less heavy here, make sure you get a club with a nice broad base. If you're playing golf up in the Cotswolds, where the ground is harder and the sand is thinner, a smaller, thinner blade will help you perfect these bunker shots. But, well, let me just show you how. Of course, there are so many variations of bunker shots, stuck in corners and tucked up under lips and so on. But let's just take the ordinary bunker shot, lying fairly smooth. What do? Ball fairly well forward on the left foot. Aim slightly left of the target. open the blade of the club. Don't be afraid of letting it lie open. Don't hold it square. Allow the blade to stay open there. Aim left, and now swing, try and swing along the line of your feet. But because the blade is open, that will throw the ball out towards the flag. So we've got the ball forward, we've got the blade open, hands forward, not behind the ball here. Keep the hands well forward, and don't forget to go nicely back and nicely through. And it should come out every time. Sweet as a nut. And don't forget, when you leave the sand, well, we're fortunate to have a rake with us today. Well, if there's one there, make sure you use it. It'll make those people coming up behind a lot happier. And if you don't have a rake, well, the old foot still does a very good job. Help the old greenkeeper, and everyone will be happy. Tommy Horton's our guest professional, one of the unique band who manages to combine international golf and the running of a very successful pro shop in the island of Jersey, where in fact he was born, along with other great English golfer Harry Varden. Very much a hand and arms player, Tommy Horton. Tommy's now going to advise Malcolm Routh how to approach a difficult lie in a bunker.
Well, Malcolm, you've got yourself a problem here, haven't you?
Yes, a bit of a
You've got
problem.
a downhill slope,
lie, yes.
and you've got the back lip of the bunker here to contend with, and you've got a lot of the bunker to go through.
Yes.
Now, you've got a problem, but it can be solved quite easily. The first thing you have to do is to nestle the club in with the face slightly open here. Take your normal grip. That's it. You can't get your right foot any further back. You're limited there. Keep the blade open. Now, you've got to remember one thing for this shot. You've got to hit it hard because you've got a lot of bunker to go over.
Yeah.
And the next thing you've got to do is remember that you've got this angle, the angle of the shaft of my club. So you want the club to go in behind the ball, about 2 inches here, and you want to continue on that angle. When you've finished the shot, when you've continued on that angle underneath the ball, continue to hold the blade open and follow through with your left hand firm. Don't ever let your right hand cross over, because that'll just make the ball duck into the bunker here. If you can keep the face open by swinging your left hand forward with the club and continue along the slope, the thing will go out quite high, and the best you can hope to do is really to get it on the middle of the green.
Yeah.
So a good long swing, entering the sand a couple of inches behind with the face open, and there you are. Watch the ball carefully and swing it right through. A little more open with the club face. Well done.
Not going to let our visiting professionals sneak away without demonstrating some of these more difficult shots. The first one, downhill. This is where Malcolm was, virtually the same sort of position. One where Tommy will be standing with his feet out of the bunker, ball below his feet. One slightly uphill at the front of the bunker, and the far one just on the edge of the grass, edge of the sand. You still can't ground your club because the sand or the line of the bunker would come into play. So I just want to see how Tommy would tackle these 4 shots. Now, firstly, Tommy, here you are. You've got 1 foot out, 1 foot in, probably. Here, well, you've already gone through this with Malcolm. So come on, position, heal thyself.
I will. You've got to keep your body still. So I'm just going to do this with my arms and hands, and being an arms and hands specialist, I ought to be able to do it all right. Make sure it gets up quickly.
Yeah, pretty good. Got a little bit of backspin as well.
Just a touch.
That's very professional. Now this one, slightly different, Tommy. Feet out of the bunker and above the ball. So what do you do here?
Well, as the feet are out of the bunker, you're not quite sure of how much sand you've got underneath the ball, but as it's near the edge of the bunker and greenkeepers tend to stand out and rake the sand towards the edge of the bunker, I presume there's quite a lot of sand there. I'm going to have to hit it quite hard. No problem about getting it airborne, there's lots of sand there. But it's fairly straightforward, unless the ball is a lot below.
In this case, bend your knees a little bit more, do you?
In this case, I'll just give it a little more length in the grip and bend the knees just a little more than I would normally.
Yeah, out she comes, you see, just easing its way down 6 or 7 feet from the hole. An awkward shot, but again with a chance of getting a par. Now this one, in this case, isn't all that bad, but sometimes you can really get bunker shots, can't you, where the ball's up a very, very steep face, and I always thought those were the most difficult. So it's so easy to go in too near the ball and just fire it 80 yards too far.
I must admit, this is the one I dislike most of all too. It's always difficult to get the club following the line of the sand and getting the angle, yes, and getting the angle of the club wrong, you see. When you're attacking it from this distance, you, in this sort of way, you tend to blade it a bit or just leave it straight in there.
Yeah.
But I think the method one must use is always the same. You've just got to follow the line of the sand without taking too deep a divot.
Yes, it's much easier to take too much than too... I think the commonest fault is going down too deep, isn't it?
That's right, yes. People tend to dig it in and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, well, that was a nice one.
Watch again now. Watch the length of swing, the rhythm, the steadiness of the head. Hands coming down, club head under the ball, out.
Well, you see, now here, Tommy, we've got a tricky one. It's lying in loose sand, you know, a debatable point, whether, I suppose one could say it's not in the bunker, but you certainly couldn't ground your club here without incurring a penalty stroke. So easy if you're trying to chip it to, you know, stub it there. You've a little bit of rough ground here, 4 or 5 feet.
Well, I think you could guarantee to get it on the green with a putter, even if you miss-hit it. What I'm going to try and do most of all is to try and stare at the part of the ball I'm going to hit. A lot of people in these circumstances just sort of look at the ball as a whole. And I think it's very important to stare at the part you're actually going to hit.
Yeah.
And make a firm hit, as Gary Player would. Attack everything. So here we go.
Well, it kept going, Tommy, and there, as you say, if you hit it hard enough to get through, you've got certainly a chance of a putt from there.
Yes, I think that's probably the safest thing to do.
Well, plenty of food for thought there, and in the words of the great Gary Player, when someone said, you know, he was rather lucky, he said, well, yes, the more I practice, the luckier I seem to be. Well, how about that for a little beauty? I don't think even Blaster Bates could get that out in the right direction. But Pat here, it's a bit unfortunate, Pat, that you as a wee little thing should be faced with a shot like that, but there's the flag, there's the ball, it's sort of half plugged in the bank. Now, how would you tackle that shot if you were playing in the medal? What would you do?
I think I would go for the pin.
Would you? Go on, well, just show us what you'd do. Now, stop. Now, I'm sure many of you can see that although Pat's got herself into a pretty good position here, she's kept her body fairly level by getting this leg up here on the bank, but really she's chosen by far the most difficult shot to play. The ball is sort of half plugged up underneath there. We've got this lump of grass, which the ball most probably would go into and probably bury, at best come back in the bunker. Now, did you ever think, you see, I don't think it's possible for you to get on the green in one, so you're going to take 2 from here to get on the green, so you're struggling not to take 4 shots from here, right? But you're certainly not going to get on the green for 1. Now, where did you look round about you for an easier escape route? You see, you probably didn't look anywhere, did you? Yeah. Right? Now, you wouldn't go in that direction, because if you did, it's an even more difficult, see, it's an even more difficult lie. Now, let's explore the other way, over here. Now, you can see it's open, the grass is short, you've got 1 tree here, so let me just show you how I would play this one, just there. So, see, you've got a level stance, you can get at the ball here, you can draw it back, you can get all your weight behind it because you're standing level. Here, you see, from this position, everything must come a bit this way, right?
Yes.
Plus the fact that you may sort of do your back in. So come round here, aim out there, you've still got a chance of a chip and a putt. Now, when you play this one, see, because of this shelf here, try and remove these bits of grass here. You don't have to hit the ball all that hard, funnily enough. Obviously, a good hit. Get as much weight of club head into the shot, and if you bring the club in there, the club probably will stop when it gets into that turf bank. You stand a very good chance of getting it up out of that bunker. Have a go. Well done. See that? Very good indeed.
Well, now, this situation is entirely different to the one we did with Malcolm earlier. This is a 45 or 50-yard bunker shot, one we term which is a long bunker shot. We've got another bunker in front which makes it even more difficult. The long bunker shot anyway is much more difficult than the shorter one because one has to be perfectly accurate. The sand is a little bit wet here, so I've got to be careful that the club doesn't slip. The club head has to enter the sand just half an inch or an inch behind rather than the 2 inches which we try to do for the shorter one. And the swing has to be continued. This is the important thing. The club has to continue in the direction of the target and the grip has to be kept firm. Now if you let go for this shot, you'll just take a lot of sand and the ball will flop out. So the answer is to keep very still, to aim and to fix your eye on that half an inch or inch behind the ball and to continue the swing to a good finish. Ball slightly forward in the stance to get elevation, and here we go.
Hey, young Duncan, come on, bring that divot back. That's no way to go on round the golf course. What happens if somebody comes and finds themselves in a place like that? Eh? Stick it back in there and tread it well down. Well, of course, we fooled you a bit there because Duncan knows enough about the game of golf not to do that sort of thing during the course of a round. But plenty of people don't, and they're not all long handicappers. I've seen plenty of low single-figure men and women who casually take big divots and walk on. They don't repair the pitch marks on the greens. They scramble up and down the faces of bunkers and generally make a pretty big nuisance of themselves to their playing partners, themselves and the couples coming up behind. So don't you do what we just demonstrated with Duncan there. Maurice Bembridge is our professional for this next problem. How does he see playing a shot from that big old divot hole?
Right there, I'd be looking only to make good contact, move the ball along, hopefully play for the centre of the green. You can no chance to try and finesse one out of there, so you just have to take a club that I can drive the ball forward with from that lie, get some sort of flight on it, and not just chilly dip it right in front of me.
Now, Maurice will just show you. What have you got there, Maurice? A 6 iron?
6, yes.
6 iron. Now, what are you going to do different here in an effort to make really good, solid contact with the ball to get it running up towards the target?
Well, obviously, the first thing, I'm going to make sure and get my hands quite a way in front of this to make sure that I get a good, quick takeaway.
Break the wrist a little earlier.
It gives me a sharper impact, downward tend into the ball. So I'm going to stand a little bit in front of it, more centre of the stance with the ball rather than a little bit more forward of the centre. I'm going to stand a little bit further back. I'm going to have my hands well in front, and I'm going to try and stand very still and use plenty of arms and hands to hit down and through and drive the ball forward.
Well, come on, let's see your best shot.
In this situation, I think it's just a matter of here's hoping for me.
Oh, there's a perfect shot. That's a super shot. Front right, curling in, just catches the front right corner, runs up onto the green. Well, there you are, Duncan, you see that? Hands forward, weight a little bit forward, or perhaps in the... just boom, straight into it, squirting it forward, not trying to loft it. So many people from that sort of situation take a lofted club, they try and loft the ball in the air. All they do is come back here, scoop up, hit the ball behind. Well, Maurice, we can see that Malcolm obviously has problems.
As we can see, Peter, he's taken an 8 iron, which is rather under clubbing, I would say, and he's obviously trying to give it quite a good hit, which off this type of position is obviously going to lead into all sorts of problems. At these situations, I think one has to show a little bit of restraint, a little bit of control. That's what you need. rather than to get carried away and try to make the ball do something that it's impossible for it to do with any amount of consistency anyway.
Morris will show you now. I think, here we are, Morris, I've got a ball. Now, you see, you were trying to hit an 8-iron there, weren't you, as hard as you could go. Now, Morris, how do you see the shot?
Well, I see this shot much, I try and see it as simply as I can, in fact. But I've got a 6-iron, in fact, and I'm going to go down the grip a little bit, because obviously my stance is going to be well below the ball. I'm going to have to shorten up the grip to compensate for the length there, and I'm going to try and play a comfortable, easy, controlled swing. With off this slope, normally one would think of turning it to the left. In your particular instance, trying to throw yourself at it a little bit, you're going to exaggerate that. So I'm just going to try and play with a bit of, I suppose, the old boys. Finesse, they say, didn't they?
But also, do you try and keep your body sort of at a level? You know, do you try and work with the slope, keeping the contours in mind, you know?
Oh, yes.
Not too much body.
Right. This is the important thing of standing still at these shots, so that one doesn't get throwing about. I mean, just moving in front, you can push it out or pull it or anything. So you've got to stand at a reasonable pace, but obviously one has to try and keep consistent in the height of the head from the ball, because that after all is going to be governing whether you hit behind it or in front of it, and it just goes in the trees over there or anywhere else.
So briefly, to sum up, Morris, what you're saying is that you've got 2 clubs more than Malcolm was trying to hit. You're trying to keep your body steady. You're going to hold the blade perhaps a little bit open
off this thing, yes.
And then just pushing it forward towards the target with an easy swing.
Right.
Now, come on, keep your eyes open, Malcolm. We'll just watch this lad.
Now, try not to make it go to the left here, Malcolm. Down the grip quite a bit. Just hold it out there.
See the nice easy stance, knees nicely bent, the same sort of flex. Watch the easy hand back. And there she goes, look, right on the target. Now it's nice flight, pitching short of the green, just easing its way up onto the front edge of the green, no danger of turning it into the woods or bunkers, left or right, and then you've got a chance of still chipping up and getting your par. Well, Malcolm Routh has been a little bit lucky and a little unlucky under this situation. He's hit pretty good drive from the tee, managed to run through this bunker, which is rather fortuitous, but he's crept over the top, and as you can see, he's on a very severe downslope with bunkers left and right. And I think, Morris, I think you ought to just take Malcolm through this club selection and type of shot you think he should attempt from this position.
In this particular case, with the downhill lie, obviously we should be thinking in taking less lofted club, because we're inclining to take loft off the face by standing in front of it and following down the slope and hitting the ball forward. Obviously as well from here on this downhill lie, we're not going to get quite the height that we need. What club have you got there?
6-iron.
Yeah, well, you see, if I was playing this shot, I'm actually thinking of hitting an 8-iron here. So even then I might even consider 9, because I only want to pitch around 120 yards, and a slight following wind today, that's about as far as I can hit. But in your case, probably a 7 might be enough to get you that far. Shall I go ahead and hit this thing and see if we can see if I can effectively demonstrate? Hold on to that one. The weight has to be a little bit on the left, on that thing, but the right knee has to be well bent so that we maintain a reasonable, for the purpose of our own swing, and balance. The right knee bends in here, and the left one is much straighter, obviously, as you can see. But there we're maintaining balance, we're maintaining poise, so that we're not going to dip forward, move forward, and fall in front of it altogether. We're going to stay there. We're going to, obviously, the weight is going to be on the left anyway, just to prop yourself against that slope. So there, a little bit on the, obviously not all of it on the left, because otherwise we're going to lean right down it. But that basically is the idea, that we stay there. There's more weight obviously on the left than the right, but here we're going to basically try and maintain this flat lie for our swing, although we're going to, when the swing does come into the ball, we're going to try and follow the contour of the ground down so that the ball is hit forward, rather than trying to lift it off the bank or anything like that. So as I say, it's there.
Now we'll see that one again in slow motion, Morris's swing. A good foundation, you see, good solid stance, hands and arms working, head still, good follow through, simple, elegant.
Keep the majority of your weight on your left foot. So here you're tending here to be a bit too close to the ball as well. You know, you've got to give yourself room to swing back at this one. So swing, get a little bit further away from the ball and get more weight on that left foot, a little bit more weight there. Keep this right knee bent so that you're maintaining a reasonable amount of your normal stance. You know, I mean, there obviously you're trying to be level, as level as you can, without, you know, tipping over. So that's it. Now and then from there, you have to follow. Remember, you have to follow the contour of the ground down, which means that you're going to move forward of it and follow there rather than try and lift the ball up into the air. Yeah. That's a lovely shot.
That's it.
That's a beauty.
A little bit quick, wasn't it? A little bit snatchy. Just take your time and feel the pace of the ball going off the club and running up towards the flag. Good. Morris, well done. A very sensible and faultless exhibition. Now, before you go, you're not going to run away without telling us what your views are of playing under windy conditions. Lots of people get terrified of it. Oh, I can't play in this wind. I'm going to lose my swing. But there isn't all that much mystique, is there? You need a bit of skill, but you can use the wind as an ally, I always believe.
Well, that's right, Peter, yes. I think the important thing really is to realise and to just accept that the wind is tricky and difficult and everybody's having problems too. I think one has to see the tournament scene, in fact, and in windy conditions the scores do go considerably higher. I think basically accept the fact that you're going to make a few mistakes, take the good breaks when they come, generally just accept whatever you can. Try and use the wind, as you say, when it's downwind, let the ball roll forward with the wind behind it, into the wind. One more club, or two more clubs in fact, and just play well within yourself all the time and try and generally just, well, find an easy way of playing rather than making it very difficult.
Let's just examine this sort of situation. Now, this happens to be a tree, pupils, here, as you can see, but it may well be the edge of a bunker. It might be in a funny position where, you know, you're standing in the bunker trying to chip one up here. What do? So many people, you think, well, they'll have a go like this and they'll break their favourite club up against the tree. They'll try and hug it like this and chip out sideways. But really, if you just think about it, why not try something like this? And you can pick it up very quickly, just with 5 or 10 minutes practice on the chipping ground or somewhere. Stand with your back to the target, one-handed, lofted club, big fair. This is a 9-iron. Just stand alongside the ball and just let the wrist swing so, right? So that you get that sort of shot. Once more for you. You can be right up against the tree. You just move it back and skip it through. Now, as I say, you could do that on the edge of a bunker, up against a tree. It allows you to escape from that sort of situation. If you're not too sure with using a 9-iron or a lofted club, why not a putter? Also, if you're in the same sort of situation again, with a little bit more practice, I'm cheating a bit, I'm finding not a bad lie, you can turn the club round. That's the normal way, of course. Turn the club round that way and keep the wrists nicely together and just give it a little bonk forward up the fairway. So. Well, we've got from tee to green, but it's not all over yet. Joining me now, John Stark, another one of Scotland's premier teaching professionals from the delightful Creef Golf Club in Perthshire. Well, John's got 1 or 2 surprises up his sleeve, and who knows, he might even be able to cure Malcolm's slice.
Well, Malcolm, I've had a wee look at this from the distance here. I see you got a problem, all right. And it's all to the right, isn't it? Yep. Well, let's see you address the ball again, Malcolm. Now, the first thing I noticed was that, in your own particular type of slice, you see that? You want to get that round a bit and put your grip back on. You know, it's facing away out there. If you have a look at that, look at it. Right angles to that, you're way out to the right there. Yes. I think the first thing you should do is you check the alignment of your club all the time. See that there? Okay? Right. Now, the other thing you know, that I was looking at in your particular slice, that you don't move your hands very well. You see, in a golf swing, see, from there, the back of that hand should face out that way. And then when you hit through, like that, the back of that hand should face out there, like that. I'll explain that probably to you later. I'll tell you what, you take a little practice swing with that there, you see that? Move in, and try and move your hands the way I was telling you to do it.
You just want a shot.
Just take a little, yeah, that way. Right, let's see you try and hit a ball like that, eh? Super. That's the stuff. Tell you what I'll do, I'll show you some of the more common faults, or the common slices. If you like to stand over there, eh? And I'll show you some of the common slices. I think the most common one is the one that comes up like this, and they take it away outside the line of flight, out like that, and chop really across it, you see? You get this sort of thing. Then there's the other one, it's basically the same thing. The club's coming across the line of flight like this, and they do this one. In there, out they come, and boy, they really chop across it. They think because they're taking it in here, everything's fine. But they come in like this. Again, away the ball goes the same way. You get the other guys, you know, that come in, their grip is just so much over this way. They've been reading so many books, they don't know what to do about it. Face is wide open, you see, this is the sort of thing that you've been doing. The face is open from the very start, come in, use their hand action, away the ball goes to the right again. So the best tip for this type of thing is to do what I was telling you, Malcolm, and that is to get a couple of clubs there and you work on the parallels, what we call the parallels, so that you're there and the club must move from parallel to that line, back of the hand facing out that way, comes in, squares up to the ball, you move there and it goes back here again, parallel to that line. That's how to hit the ball straight. For every slicer, if they could learn to come from there, parallel to the line they're hitting, back of the hand out there, square it up, move the arms and hands across the front of the body. Keep it square to there.
Well, young Duncan, what are you up to now? Eh? What have you got there?
9 iron.
A 9 iron. You think you can get there with a 9, do you?
Yes.
Well, go on then. Let's see what you can do. Well, I think, John, there was a classic case of a youngster trying to be a bit ambitious, trying to hit a bit too hard, which is a good attacking shot, but I think you might give him a point or two just to help him along his way.
Yes, okay, Peter, I'll have a look at it. Tell you what, let's have a look at your lineup, Duncan, eh? First of all, I think your 9 iron's a wee bit too ambitious. You'd be better to try and play a controlled shot, especially with the trees on either side there, okay? So let's try a 7 iron. We'll see if we can get this shot moving better for you. That's the stuff. Now, let me see you stand up to the ball. That's the stuff. So, what I really want you to do is, I notice you've got your hands behind it. Okay? I'll tell you what, you stand over there and I'll show you one of the two of the things that you're doing. You watch what I'm doing here now. When you stand up, you've got your hands way back here somewhere. See that? So, what you want to do is get into that position there, with the hands in front of the ball. Okay? And also, you're a secret grip switcher. Watch my hands. This is what you do when you're playing. You're trying to force it, you see, and you stand up like this, and the last thing you do before you go is that. Take it away and you force it, and of course you know that's a hooker's grip, and that's what you switch to. Try and keep your hands in that position, keep your hands in front, and when you come into the ball, move into the shot, and try and knock it in a lower trajectory. Try and feel your hands in front as you actually make contact. What this can lead to, of course, is this type of thing. You switch your grip, shut the face, okay? And then you come in there, switch it, hands behind, back you go, where the shot goes to the left. This is your fault, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it was. Tell you what, let's come and try that. Right, you put it down there. That's fine. Let's see you really get into this position here. Now put your weight onto your left foot. All right? Keep yourself like that. Let's see you try and get in and feel yourself like that as you make contact. You see that? Try and feel yourself like that as you make contact. And don't sort of sit back like this. Don't sit back and throw the ball away up to the left, but get your hands in front and move it that way, okay? That's the way. Now don't switch the grip this time. Keep it nice and solid the way it is. And try and get in and hit the ball down onto the turf. Keep your hands in front now. Don't cheat. Keep them in front. That's a little bit better. You think you've got something to work on there? I see you've got a bit of a problem there, Malcolm.
Yes,
You know,
a wee hook.
a wee hook. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show you one or two wee hooks and then we'll see what it's like. Stand
Right.
over there and we'll just see. You know, this hooking business, you know, that hook and the pull are both the shots that go to the left. You know, the hook goes straight and bends left and the other one goes straight left. And it's quite a lot of things. I think the hook is the one where, you know, you heard me talking to the other Malcolm about the parallels, and you see the club coming in from away inside the parallel, not here at all, but away in from here somewhere. And they come into the ball, the face is like this, and they've rapidly got to close the face, you know, and of course they close it far too soon, and you get a ball swings away to the left like that. The other one is attached to the slice, really, because people come up to the top of the swing, you go the other, take it outside, and they point it over here. I've got a parallel there, I've got a parallel here. I should have a parallel up here as well to those two, you see. So what happens is they come up and they go way out like this. You can see that from here, can't you? Everybody at home can see this business. The club's away out there. It's going to come right down like this, and instead of laying it open for the slice, the fellow just takes it and closes the blade. He comes from that position, down like this, blade closes there, and he bangs it straight left. Let me see you take a practice swing and try and get a pivot. As you block, you see, you come to there and you block this. You can't quite get to this position. It lies out a wee bit. See that? So I'd like a little bit of more movement in that position. Yeah. Let's see you try and just, you know, take a practice swing first. Let's see you try and just turn that hip a bit. See if we can get the club into position. Take the back swing only. Oh, that's not so bad. Yeah? Get it to there. How does that feel? Terrible.
Terrible.
Swing forward now then. Well, let's see you. Let's have a go at it, eh? More pivot to try and get the club in line. On you go. Turn it again. That's it. There. And now let's see you come in and twist the hands over. Come on. Right, that's fine. Now, once again, remember, you've been coming from the outside slightly. All right? So coming from there, you'll be blocking to hit them straight. Okay? Well, you're now coming from here, so I want to see that action, back of the hand, through the parallels. So let's try it. A bigger pivot from the hips especially, because I'll tell you, you can't turn your shoulders without turning your hips. It's impossible. They only go to there. You've got to let that go. Let's see you try it. Turn the hips and shoulders, right round. Oh, a bit more. Come on, there. That's it, yeah. Come on then, let's see you come in. Try the ball now. A full pivot. Yep. And you're going right through that line there. Go on. Full pivot and then use your hands. That's a better shot. It's a wee draw, you see. She dubbed that one a wee bit, you know.
Step it in the grass.
She
Put it
dubbed
in the
that
ground,
one a
so
wee
you
bit,
just
but it's not
stamp it in the
bad.
ground.
That's the one that's been coming. It's been looking like it all the time. See, you've got a very good eye for a ball. There's no question about this.
That one, though, a lot of people always tend to say, oh, I hit a bad shot, partner, I got my head up, which is one of those classic old sayings like, you know, the check's in the post, or I had to be up, partner, to hold it when the ball goes 20 yards past.
Or I'll do it tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start the diet tomorrow, yes. John, What is your interpretation of head up? I think, you know, everyone says, oh, I had my head up, and really the number of times that is the complete fault is very rare. I always think head still. What are your views?
Yes, head still. Perhaps I could show you, Peter, you know what I mean?
Please do.
Could I stand there, Pat, just a second? If you stand over there, I'll show you. I always feel in this type of situation that if one moves the body properly, the head will remain still. When the head comes up, it's always, it's stuck onto this like a big turnip and stuff of a post, you know. The head comes up, this is really what's coming up. It is the body that's throwing it, or it's the body that's throwing it here, or the body that's throwing it there. If you keep your head still, keep your head up there, look down at the ball, keep it still. If you concentrate moving the body properly, the head will remain still. It's the converse of what other people say. You get people gluing their head like this, they stand like this, and they... But I kept my head still. It's still not a good shot. You know.
What about, John, we've got that can create topping or slaffing or just scuttling along the ground. What about the ones that sort of sky up in the air, body all out of position and just a sort of complete dunch behind the ball and up it pops, you know, and you could run forward and almost catch it?
Pat nearly did one there. You know, she came in and there she was, releasing away over here somewhere and in like that, right into the back of the ball, you know, this sort of thing. You get it often in youngsters trying to get the ball up in the air, or people starting the game, they're trying to get the ball up into the air. This is what they're trying to do. And they sort of scoop at it this way, and you get this sort of, back goes the body back here, and they're flapping at it like this, you know, trying to get this thing thrown away, and that's where it goes.
Well, that's about it. I hope you've learned something from my professional colleagues, and I'm sure John Stark's left you with plenty of things to think about. Don't forget, though, to make use of your own professional, and if you're not actually the member of a golf club, don't be too afraid. Don't be put off by that private sign at the end of the drive. Go up and see the old pro, and I'm sure he'll be able to give you some lessons, and he'll be delighted to do so and pass on his great knowledge. Our thanks to the Downfield Club and Committee for allowing us to record our videogram here, and we hope you'll continue to love and enjoy and play golf. Bye-bye.